If you think looking wealthy makes you wealthy, you've got it backwards. The people building real money drive old cars, live in average houses, and let everyone assume they're broke. I'm one of them. I drive a 2013 Toyota Camry with 140,000 miles on it. The paint is faded. There's a small scratch on the bumper I never bothered fixing. My coworkers probably assume I'm struggling financially. What they don't know is that I have $340,000 saved. My retirement accounts are fully funded. I could stop working tomorrow if I needed to. I choose the old Camry on purpose. This isn't about being cheap. This is about understanding something most people never figure out. Every dollar you spend looking wealthy is a dollar that can't compound for 30 years. Let me show you the math that changed how I think about everything. When I was 26, I had a choice. I was earning $58,000 and qualified for a car loan on a $35,000 SUV. The payment would have been $620 monthly. Instead, I bought a 3-year-old Camry for $12,000 cash. That decision alone changed my financial trajectory. The $620 monthly payment I didn't make got invested instead. Over the 8 years since then, that money has grown to approximately $73,000. Same person, same income, different car. The result is $73,000 in investments versus $73,000 in depreciation and interest payments. One choice compounds wealth, the other compounds payments. But the math is just the beginning. Looking ordinary instead of successful creates 3 specific advantages that invisible wealth provides. Advantage 1. You become a smaller target for everyone trying to extract money from you. When you drive a luxury car, service providers calibrate their prices differently. The mechanic quotes $1,200 for repairs he'd charge $800 for to someone in a Honda. The contractor estimates higher because you live in a nice neighborhood. The salesperson assumes you can afford premium options and pitches accordingly. This isn't paranoia. This is documented pricing behavior. Researchers have found that service providers consistently quote higher prices to people displaying visible wealth markers. Over a lifetime of transactions, this pricing differential compounds into tens of thousands of dollars. The person who looks wealthy pays a wealth tax on everything they buy. The person who looks ordinary pays standard rates. I noticed this directly when I needed home repairs last year. I got 3 quotes. The contractors who saw my old car parked outside quoted $2,800, $3,100, and $3,400. A friend with a newer Mercedes living 3 blocks away got quotes of $4,200, $4,600, and $4,800 for nearly identical work. Same neighborhood, same type of job, different visible wealth signals. The difference was over $1,000 for one project. Advantage 2. Your negotiating position improves in every interaction. When people think you're financially desperate, they assume you need whatever they're offering. Employers assume you need the job. Landlords assume you need the apartment. Salespeople assume you need to buy today. This perceived desperation weakens your position. You can't walk away from bad offers because everyone assumes you can't afford to. When you look financially ordinary while having substantial savings, you get the opposite dynamic. You maintain the appearance of needing the deal while having the security of not actually needing it. This is an extraordinarily powerful position. You can negotiate aggressively because you're genuinely willing to walk away. You can take time making decisions because you're not under financial pressure. You can push back on terms because you have options. I've used this dynamic in every salary negotiation since building savings. I look like someone who needs the job while having the security of not needing any specific job. This allows me to negotiate from strength while appearing to negotiate from normal position. The result has been consistently better offers than colleagues who display more visible wealth and therefore appear less motivated by compensation. Advantage 3. Your relationships remain authentic instead of filtered through money. When you look wealthy, every relationship includes an invisible question. Do they like me or my money? Are they friendly because of who I am or what I have? Would they still be here if I lost everything? You can never know for certain. The visible wealth creates doubt that's impossible to eliminate. The person who looks financially ordinary while being quietly wealthy avoids this problem entirely. Their friendships formed without the filter of perceived money. People treat them normally because they appear normal. Relationships stay genuine because financial status never entered the equation. I've watched this play out in my own life. My close friends have no idea about my actual financial situation. They know I live modestly. They assume I'm doing okay, but nothing special. Our relationships are based on who we are, not what anyone has. Compare this to colleagues who drive luxury cars and live in expensive neighborhoods. They frequently complain about friends asking for loans, family members requesting financial help, and never knowing if people like them or their apparent success. That uncertainty creates stress that money is supposed to reduce, not create. Let me show you how this plays out over time with two people making identical income. Person A earns $150,000 annually. They lease a BMW for $850 monthly. They live in an upscale apartment for $3,200 monthly. They wear expensive clothes and carry designer bags. They vacation at luxury resorts. They save roughly 5% of gross income, about $7,500 annually. Person B earns $150,000 annually. They drive a paid-off Honda for zero monthly payment. They live in a standard apartment for $1,800 monthly. They wear normal clothes from regular stores. They vacation at interesting places, not expensive ones. They save 25% of gross income, about $37,500 annually. After 10 years at 7% investment returns, Person A has accumulated approximately $110,000. Person B has accumulated approximately $550,000. Person A looks successful. Person B looks ordinary. Person A is financially fragile. Person B is financially secure. The gap only widens from here. After 20 years, Person A has roughly $340,000. Person B has roughly $1.6 million. One has the appearance of wealth, the other has actual wealth. Now, let me address what I actually do spend money on, because this isn't about living in deprivation. I spend freely on things that genuinely improve my life or increase my earning capacity. High-quality mattress because sleep affects everything. Good food because nutrition matters. Education and skills training because knowledge compounds. Experiences with people I care about because memories have permanent value. What I don't spend on is signaling. I don't buy things to impress people I don't know. I don't upgrade items that work fine just because newer versions exist. I don't maintain appearances for social expectations. The difference is intention. Every purchase gets evaluated on actual value to my life, not perceived value to observers. My apartment is comfortable, but not impressive. My furniture is functional, but not designer. My clothes are appropriate, but not branded. My car works, but doesn't turn heads. This allows me to direct money toward things that actually compound. Investments that grow, skills that increase earning capacity, experiences that create genuine happiness. The visible wealth game is expensive and exhausting. You're constantly maintaining displays. Every year requires new purchases to signal continued success. The treadmill never stops because the signaling never ends. I opted out of that game completely. Nobody knows what I have. Nobody expects me to spend more than I do. Nobody resents me for financial success they can't see. This invisibility is freedom. Here's what changed when I fully committed to this approach 3 years ago. I stopped checking what other people drive or wear or own. Their consumption became irrelevant to my decisions. I stopped feeling pressure to upgrade things that work. The car runs fine, so the car stays. I stopped worrying about appearing successful because I know what I've actually built. The mental space this freed up is difficult to quantify, but impossible to ignore. I'm not playing a game that requires constant maintenance. I'm just living my life and building security in the background. Most importantly, I sleep well. Not because I have nice things, because I have options. I could handle any emergency. I could leave any bad situation. I could take time off if I needed to. I could pursue opportunities without financial desperation driving decisions. That security doesn't show up in photos. It doesn't impress people at parties. It doesn't signal anything to anyone. But it changes everything about how you move through the world. That security doesn't show up in photos. It doesn't impress people at parties. It doesn't signal anything to anyone. But it changes everything about how you move through the world. Let me break down the specific status purchases that drain wealth without providing real value, because recognizing these patterns is the first step to avoiding them. The car payment treadmill is the most visible. The average new car payment in America is now over $700 monthly. People justify this by saying they need reliable transportation. But a 3-year-old Toyota is just as reliable as a new BMW and costs 1/3 the price. The difference isn't reliability. The difference is signaling. You're paying $400 monthly extra for other people to see you in a premium brand. Over 5 years, that's $24,000 in signal costs. That same $24,000 invested grows to approximately $80,000 over 20 years. You're trading $80,000 of future security for temporary status signals that strangers see for 3 seconds at traffic lights. The luxury apartment or oversized house is another common trap. I've watched colleagues earning $120,000 rent apartments for $3,500 monthly because the building has a doorman and the address sounds impressive. Standard apartments 8 blocks away rent for $2,000 monthly with the same square footage. That $1,500 monthly difference costs $18,000 annually. Over 10 years, invested instead of spent on address prestige, that becomes approximately $260,000. You're paying $250,000 for an impressive address that only matters to people you're trying to impress. Designer clothes and accessories create a similar drain. A $2,000 handbag performs the same function as a $100 bag. The extra $1,900 buys a logo. That logo signals brand recognition to people who care about brand recognition. Those people are also probably trapped in the same status game. I know someone who spent $8,000 on a watch, not because it tells time better than a $200 watch, because other people who know watches will recognize it. She's paying $7,800 for recognition from a tiny subset of people who are equally obsessed with status markers. The vacation inflation pattern is less obvious, but equally expensive. Basic travel to interesting places costs $2,000 to $3,000 for a week. Luxury resort travel to the same locations costs $8,000 to $12,000. The difference buys nicer rooms and premium service. More importantly, it buys social media content that signals wealth. You're not paying for the experience, you're paying for the display of the experience. The photos are the product, not the trip itself. These individual choices seem defensible in isolation, but they compound into a lifestyle that requires every dollar earned to maintain. When your baseline spending includes luxury cars, premium housing, designer goods, and status vacations, there's nothing left to save. You become trapped in a job you might hate because you need the income to maintain the display. You can't take career risks because the lifestyle can't survive income disruption. You're imprisoned by the very things that were supposed to signal success. The 2013 Camry, with 140,000 miles, represents a choice. Compound growth over social approval. Security over display. Freedom over appearance. The people who see my old car and feel superior are playing a different game. They're optimizing for today's status. I'm optimizing for tomorrow's options. In 20 years, they'll still be working because they have to. I'll have choices they cannot imagine. Both of us made decisions. Only one of us made decisions that compound. Looking poor isn't actually about looking poor. It's about refusing to play the visibility game that keeps most people financially trapped. It's about recognizing that wealth isn't what you show, it's what you keep. Every millionaire driving a Toyota understood something critical. The goal was never to look successful. The goal was always freedom. And freedom comes from what you don't spend, not what you do.